Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Library of Ruina reaction. Before we start, let me chill a little bit. I just released a song. It's a cover of an Arknight song, Phenomenal Agents. I'm very proud of the final product, so if any of you haven't seen it yet or haven't heard it, please go watch that as well. A lot of time, heart, and soul went into that project, and it would be awesome if even a few people who haven't also dipped their toes into the Arknight side of this community would give that a shot and maybe just support the fact that it's a good song played by good people. But even if not, I'll always be here doing this thing. So here is Angela's realization theme. After I did Roland's last time, a lot of people, pretty much all the comments were like, now it's Angela's turn. So here I am, and let's go. God, it always throws me off how sudden some of these start off. Ooh. Okay. It's been about a week since I heard Roland's, but there's some things that feel familiar about the way this is written already. This one's definitely a little bit softer. I think it's mostly the violin doing that, but maybe signifying a calmer presence from her, calmer personality even. I love the beat changes that they do in these. They're really tasteful. Yeah, that felt like a transition. Might be starting to move to phase 2 now. Wait a minute. Ooh, the full rhythm change. That's a unique fill and unique rhythm. Getting that intensity out. Very similar in structure to how they were handling the Roland one, which I suppose makes sense. They're kind of supposed to serve the same purpose from what I pick up. This one definitely doesn't have as much of the, like, stages of grief thing going on. That might have been the transition to the third right there. Or it's just about to happen. Ooh. Oh, yeah. Okay. That was definitely a transition moment. Woo. Seriously, this studio is like the motion. The movement. So smooth. Oh, love that. The extra synths underneath, making things a little bit more aggressive and dirty. Ooh, back off. But not for too long. Mom is still angry. Let's go. The guitar solo. Okay. Dude, all right. And man, this is so cool in so many different ways, but still so many familiar ways to the Roland take. So like I kind of said near the beginning, it had some similarities with that Roland one, at least from what I remember of it. There was definitely the difference of having the violin instead of the piano being like the main upfront instrument, holding the melody down and just being the lead sound in all the song. But also, like I referenced, this one didn't really have these stages of grief feeling that the last one did. This one felt more consistent. There was still a shift in tone, obviously, like as the song went on. You can still feel that aggression, a little bit of confusion, maybe, just that shift as the song goes on. And there's moments in there, like right near the end, where everything kind of backs off and it kind of beautifies itself again. And maybe there's that question of like, is what I'm doing correct or am I going too far? And then it goes right back into it after they answer that question. Great musical resolution. But then there's the stuff like right at the end. What got me was that the violin, which had been the constant the entire time, no matter how fast it got, no matter how slow it was the constant instrument. And then it had a guitar solo. It faded into the guitar solo to get as aggressive as you can with the stringed instrument, to then go right back to it. It faded back in to the violin at the end. That was a really cool transition. I thought they were just going to end it with a guitar solo and like rise up to that point. But then once that solo was done, it faded back into the sound of the violin, that warmer tone. It took away all of that aggression, all that cold harshness that an electric guitar has, and just was like, no, we're going back. And this, what a beautiful, beautiful choice there. They could have left it. They could have just made it an electric guitar and just left it up there. But they had to take it back down, and they knew that. And getting that cyclical spot of here's the end, and we know we have to loop back. You don't want to keep it up there because that would be too jarring when you loop it back around. This is so much of what I mean when I talk about Studio EIM and their concept of music, making these types of choices. These choices are what make these songs stand out in very tiny ways, but man, they're so bold at the same time. Kind of back more on what I was saying about it being more straightforward. There was just less confusion going on here. I didn't feel that this character had a sense of confusion about who they were, their decisions, if it was correct. This felt more like somebody who had been pushed to the brink and was kind of like taking that out on you, to then question if that was the right thing to do near the end before deciding that, yeah, they've already kind of stepped too far into the door and there's no way to go back. So I think that that was really interesting too, that these two characters, I don't know what their relationship is, if they are related at all other than just being bosses, but it feels like the guy, at least in this context, Roland, never got the chance to be who he wanted to be and has had to wear literally multiple hats his whole life, like in a very potentially literal way. I'm not so sure about that. I saw the picture of him when I was looking up the thumbnail image, and I saw that he didn't have a face once, and I'm like, okay, so maybe there is like a literally wearing many faces kind of thing going on there. And this character, I didn't really see anything on. The violin being the main instrument for this character makes me think that they're probably a more prim and proper, straight-laced personality, potentially very strict, but also there's a softness to that, especially in the melody overall. There's a little bit of a softness, more than a colder track would have been, which makes me think they maybe have a warm heart, but are still like that very straight-laced, prim and proper person. Like they know where to place their emotions as needed, and maybe that's where I'm getting that like edge of coldness, but still like you can talk to them, but they will tell you how it is. You know the type. You know exactly what I'm talking about. What I think sonically is the most interesting thing about this song, though, is those synths, which adds a different layer onto what I just said, because it starts to breed feelings of the machine who learned how to love. And that makes me think that at some point this character was or is not wholly human in some way, because that's usually the type of motif you would give a character like that. But even more so with that learned how to love thing, the type of character that would have, through many experiences, potentially with Roland for all I know, since they are seemingly related like that, maybe to the point of sacrificing themselves for that other person, just finding more value in them surviving, something like that. There is a lot weighing on that assumption, obviously. I'm kind of just making a wild guess, throwing it at the wall, seeing what sticks, but that's what I'm feeling out of that. The electronic stuff usually adds that extra layer of character depth when it's included and introduced, especially later in. Like the fact that the first two really did not have any of that, and then it showed up, and then they turned it on just a little bit more, adding that electric guitar in there at the end before dialing it back, makes me think that that might have been kind of like signifying of a moment of that sort of choice, where they had to make that really big decision, and maybe it was made, and that's why it had to dial back out of it. There's a lot. And like, I know that when I make these assumptions in any of these songs I analyze, that I'm either completely correct or wildly outlandishly incorrect. So I like to see how close I am from comments. So if I am correct, please let me know, because that's one of the main reasons I love doing this. I like seeing if my interpretations of music are correct and seeing if the composers and the writers of these songs thought that far ahead, because sometimes they do, and they get really granular with it, and I am very on point when that happens most of the time. But there are also times where they just do random things that I read too far into, and I'm completely off base as a result. It's always hard to find that balance, so it's always cool reading the comments of people going like, dude, you were so close, or dude, you're way off, like what the hell are you smoking? True. So yeah, as always, leave a comment down below if I am in the ballpark, you know, discuss it. I love that sort of thing. If there are spoilers to any of that, I know worldwide they kind of release in stagger, so like not every country gets every story right away, but then some people spoof their phones, so that's irrelevant. So just be careful, basically. Like, try just to only give information that's broadly accepted and known. Don't spoil the whole game for someone. That'd be pretty cool. If I am correct, please let me know. If I am wrong, please tell me. I like to know. This is how I kind of learn about games and lore, so it's interesting. It's always really fun to read them. But anyway, if you like this video and you want to see more of me try to analyze music, be it music theory related or just the storyline stuff, which a lot of these tend to draw out of me more, leave a comment down below of what I should get to next. There's always more music and always more games and always more properties in general. If it's an anime or anything, throw it at me and I'll do my best to get to it as always. And of course, if you like this video and you want to follow me and support me for more in the future, you know how to do all that, and I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye!